Welcome back to PatioKitsDirect.com. My name is Bill, and on this episode, we're going to do something a little unconventional, and that is tear down the patio cover that we already have constructed. In a later part in the video, we're going to actually put it back up. So as we take this down, you can kind of see all the different steps on how to deconstruct this patio cover, and maybe you pick up a builder's tip, as we're taking different shots of the video in this patio cover. So stay tuned. As we get started, I think it'd be fun to actually start a timer on this 12 by 12 non-insulated patio cover to see how long it takes. So step one, what they're doing right now is taking off the downspout. All right, so the next step that we're going to do, this is step number 2, and this is removing the side fascia. So you have a side fascia on this side, and you have a side fascia on that side. So the boys over here, they're going to deconstruct the 2 side fascias. So now the next step is we're going to take down the gutter and the front fascia at the same time. All right, so now that the gutter is off and the front fascia is off, on this next step, we're going to deconstruct basically the ceiling panels. Now, you will notice that we have these little white flashing caps. Underneath there, we have some form of electrical, maybe some lights here, a fan here. So this channel up here is what actually keeps water from getting in where the electrical is. So in this next step, you're just gonna see the boys kind of going through it. Couple screws at the top, right here where it meets the beam. And then at the hanger side, we have another couple screws. So stay tuned and you'll see how this gets deconstructed. All right, so as you can see, we have one guy on this side and another guy on this side. We have one screw on this side that goes into the beam, and we have 2 screws up at the hanger. So you're going to see how fast we're going to rip this down, and that includes the electrical as we're going as well. All right, so we're at about 17 minutes and 40 seconds, and yeah, we're about halfway. All right, we pulled off all the ceiling panels. Went probably pretty fast if you ask me. So the next thing that we're going to work on is the beam, the side plates, and the post. So obviously the side plates on this single beam application has to come off first in order to remove the beam. So we pulled off the side plate. That leaves us an opportunity to remove, we have a little top post bracket right here. A couple screws need to come off. That beam's gonna come off real simple. All right, so on this last step, basically we have the 3x3 posts and we have 4 number 14 screws down here. Once we remove that, we'll have the bottom post bracket that is connecting to the concrete. All right, guys, so that was super fun to watch it being deconstructed. Now we're going to reconstruct it. For demo purposes, the first step would have been the hanger and the flashing. We already have that up. The lags are about every 16 inches on center. The next step is basically we're going to come back and replace the post and put the beam up and so on and so forth. So stay tuned. All right, so we're gonna start that timer. We put some minutes up for the hanger already. When you're getting ready to construct for your job site, it's important that, you know, if you have some horses laying around, that you set it up in the most efficient way possible. That's putting your tools nearby, that's having all your screws ready, because you don't wanna go walking around the house. You want everything to be nearby to make it the most efficient build possible. All right, so we got the post up, we got the beam up. Basically what's next is we're gonna put up the side plates again. so we got the 3x3 post up, we have the 2x6 side plate up, and now we have the beam. Now we're going to roll out the rest of the pans, and yeah, just stay tuned, and this is a fun journey. Okay, so when starting your patio cover, it's always recommended after you have the beams and posts up that you put your first panel up on this side, but it's also important for stability purposes and for squaring purposes, we're gonna put another pan over here and we're going to build up to that. Our non-insulated panels, they have a locking channel on it. So whether it's the first panel or the last panel, one of the locking channels has to be cut off. So what he'll do is he'll take a razor blade and scribe over it about 2 or 3 times, and then he'll just rock that back and forth and it'll just come right off. So what we're doing is we get the first pan up, he's checking that overhang, and then he's going to transfer that basically over to this pan to make sure that the overhangs are equal distances. All right, so again, our Newport panels, it's a seam lock, right? So what he's going to do, he's going to roll that in, flap it down, send it back to the guy in the back, and we're going to have a screw that goes into the beam and then 2 screws that go into the hanger at the house side. So as we look a little bit closer, what he's using is a 5/16 screw. And for these 6-inch pans, basically 1 screw here and 1 screw here on that lip channel. All right, so we got the lid up, we call it a lid. And now the next step is basically we're going to take the gutter and the front fascia married together and put that up as the next step. All right, so when installing the gutter, basically on the gutter, there's a little bit of a lip. That lip leaves an opportunity to shoot a screw down through that lip, down into the locking channel of the Newport patio cover. Right, so the next step, we put on the gutter, we put on the front fascia. We're now installing the side fascia on the right-hand side, and then we're gonna come over here and install the side fascia on this side. All right, so the components of a side fascia are basically a hanger channel that gets mounted about 2 1/4 inches from the bottom. This is what is going to allow us to connect to the pans from the top side. So when we flip this over, after we deconstructed this, basically the screws are going to go into the locking channel of the Newport panels. So So when you're installing the hanger on a fascia, for example, we go up to about 2¼ inches above, because when you install the side fascia, you don't want the side fascia sticking down. So that's why you have a 2-inch reveal all the way around in that darker color, as an example. So what's left, we have the 2 side fascias on, the gutter, the front fascia, and the last step is basically, this is a drop outlet. There's a hole up there to let water out. On this 12x12, it only needs 1 downspout. And so we're gonna go ahead and rehook up that front downspout. All right, that's a wrap. So today, we hope that this video kind of helped you learn how easily these go together. Now, these two are professional installers. The clock on that is basically at 45 minutes and some seconds. I think from a DIY perspective, 12x12, generally, if you have the proper tools, you're looking at maybe about 3 or 4 hours, because there was some more cutting that's involved, obviously. But yeah, so about an hour on this to reconstruct it. And we just hope, again, this helps, simplify, bring down the temperature of how easy these go together. Again, thank you for visiting us here at Patio Kits Direct. Please click or subscribe to learn more about some of the new videos that are coming out in the future. Thank you very much.